You're listening to WCAT Radio, your home for authentic Catholic programming.
Welcome. My name is Frank Ambrosio, and I'm the director of the My Dante project at Georgetown University. Today it's my great pleasure to welcome you to a reading of the second canticle of Dante's Divina Commedia, voiced by Daniel Fitzpatrick. Danny will be reading his own translation of the poem, recently completed to honor the 700th anniversary of the great poet's death in the year 1321. Poetry is meant to be spoken and heard. Listen now as Dan Fitzpatrick reads the Purgatorio, the great story of the rebirth of human hope.
Hello and welcome back to the Dante in a Year podcast. My name is Danny Fitzpatrick. Today we're moving into Dante's Purgatorio, Canto 2. I apologize for the delay. I have been in the process of moving from Hot Springs, Arkansas to Tampa, Florida. Getting settled in now, so hopefully can get back on track with these episodes. So here we go, Dante's Purgatorio, Canto 2. Now the sun was joined to the horizon at which the meridian circle hovers with its very highest point above Jerusalem, and the night, which sets up its circle against him, issued forth from Ganges with the scales, which she casts from her hand when she's sovereign, so that there where I was the white and vermilion cheeks of the lovely Aurora became gold with the deepening season. We still were alongside the sea, as people who ponder their way, who go with the heart and linger in body. And behold, just as, veiled by morning, through the thick vapors Mars places rosy haze upon his side of the sea, so now appeared to me, oh, that I might still see it, a light that came so rapidly upon the sea that none in flight can match its movement. At which, as I drew back my eyes a bit to question my leader, I saw it again made greater and more luminous. Then on its every side seemed to me such whiteness as I didn't know, and there below little by little another came forth. My master made no comment yet, while that first whiteness now appeared wings. Then, when he well recognized the sailor, he cried, Now, bend your knees. Behold the angel of God. Pray with your hands that from now on you see ministers made as these. You see how he disdains the human implements, so that he wishes no oar nor other sail than his own wings to span such distant banks. You see how he's lifted them to heaven, drawing the air with the eternal veins that do not change as mortal feathers. Then, as nearer and nearer us came the heavenly bird, the clearer he appeared, so that the eye could not sustain his presence, but dipped downward, and he came to the shore with a vessel so slender and light that the water swallowed nothing. On the stern stood the celestial pilot, such that just his description would give bliss, and over 100 spirits were seated with him. In exitu Israel de Egypto, they all sang together in one voice, proceeding with all that holy psalm. Then he gave them the sign of the Holy Cross, at which all flung themselves upon the beach, and off he went as he'd come, swiftly. The throng that remained appeared unused to the place, marveling on every hand as the one who essays new things. The sun shot through the day in every part, with those shafts he'd drawn hunting Capricorn from the midst of heaven, when the new people raised their brows to us, saying, If you know, show us the way to go to the mountain. And Virgil responded, You may believe that we are expert in this place, but we, as you, are wanderers. We have just come but a bit before you, by another way that was so harsh and stern that to climb now will seem a game. The souls, to whom it occurred at my breathing that I was yet alive, turned white with wondering. And as the people press about the messenger who bears the olive to hear his tale, and no one seems shy of the throng, so all those fortunate souls fixed upon my visage, as though forgetting the way to the beautiful things. I saw one of them drawing forward to embrace me with such great affection that it moved me to do likewise. O shades vain except in aspect! 3 times I threw my hands about him, and so often found them at my breast. Marvel, I believe, painted me, for which the shade smiled and drew back, and I, following him, pressed onward. Softly he said that I ought rest. Then I knew who he was, and I prayed that he hold back a moment and speak to me. He responded to me, "Such as I loved you in the mortal body, so do I love you released, so I will stop. But you, why do you pass here?" "My Casella, I make this voyage to return to where I am another time," I said. "But how has it taken you so long?" And he to me, "No one has done me outrage, if he who raises when and whom he pleases has denied me this passage many times. For the will which made his is just. In truth, for 3 months he has taken all who wish to come aboard with all peace, at which I, who now turned to the shore where the water of the Tiber is salted, was benignly gathered up by him. To that bay he now lifts his wings, for there are ever gathered those who don't fall to Acheron. And I, if a new law does not remove the memory or use of the amorous song that used to quiet all my sorrows, let it please you to console my spirit with it, which, coming here with its fleshly costume, is so spent of breath. Love that reasons with me in my mind," he then commenced so sweetly that the sweetness still sounds within me. "My master and I and that people who were with him seemed so content, as though nothing else touched the mind. We were all fixed, fully attending to his notes, and behold the honest elder cried, 'What is this, lingering spirits? What negligence, what sort of standing by is this? Run to the mountain, and strip the stumbling block that won't let God be manifest to you.' As when, collecting wheat or grain, the doves assembled at their pasture, quiet, without the show of their usual pride, if something appears at which they feel afraid, will suddenly leave off their eating, since they are assailed by greater care. So I saw that fresh assembly leave its song and flee toward the slope, as a man who goes and knows not where, nor was our departure less swift. Thanks for joining me for another episode of the Dante in a Year podcast. See you next time for Dante's Purgatorio, Canto 3.
Hello, God's beloved. I'm Annabelle Mosley, author, professor of theology, and host of Then Sings My Soul and Destination Sainthood on WCAT Radio. I invite you to listen in and find inspiration along this sacred journey we're traveling together to make our lives a masterpiece and, with God's grace, become saints. Join me, Annabelle Mosley, for Then Sings My Soul and Destination Sainthood on WCAT Radio. God bless you. Remember, you're never alone. God is always with you.
Thank you for listening to a production of WCAT Radio. Please join us in our mission of evangelization. And don't forget, love lifts up when knowledge takes flight.